All right, well, we want to welcome all of you and congratulate you. My name is Bill McGrane,
And Linda McGrane.
and we want to congratulate you for choosing to be a part of this webinar. So each of you are here because you know you want something exciting to happen. You want something to go to the next level. And oftentimes what people have is they don't realize what the possibilities are. You know, the reason that we invited you to be in our webinar today is because Linda and I are passionate about being able to make relationships go to a whole nother level. We call it having a goosebump marriage. And if you don't have that, well, stay tuned because we want to share ideas that will help you with this. It will help you take your marriage from a -0 to 6 all the way up to a 9 or 10 to feeling appreciated, heard, and seen for who you really are. And what we're sharing with you today in our 25-minute marriage transformation are skills and tools that would take you to a whole nother level.
So we're sought out for our expertise in providing the tools and teaching for transformed and renewed marriages. People say that we are the experts to go to after couples have been everywhere else. Often referrals come from other coaches, ministers, psychiatrists, and psychologists. We just celebrated our 28th wedding anniversary, and we're known for restoring and creating what we call a goosebump marriage.
And so let's jump right into our program tonight because we want to give you 3 keys that you're going to be able to use to restore your relationship. Now, we've worked with couples from many countries and we've helped unite them and to refresh them into a healthier individual, creating deeply intimate, powerful partnerships that overflow with what we call passion and purpose. We're also the authors of 15 books on personal development, communications, and our 90-day program that we're speaking about tonight called The Secrets to Creating Loving Relationships That No One Was Ever Taught. And let's just jump right into it right now and give you those tools of transformation so that you can really experience what we call the experience of the program. And this program is for married couples, individuals having trouble getting their spouse to attend, or those wanting to be married. You might find yourself in a situation where you want to relax right now and just enjoy the webinar. You don't have to take notes if you don't want to, because we're going to give you a scenario right now that I'd like you to consider. And if this isn't appropriate for you, just please go ahead and think of your own version of a scenario that works for you. So you're in the middle of what you wanted to be an honest discussion. Now it's become an argument that's escalated to a situation that you've done a million times before, getting the same exact result of no resolution. And you just begin raising your voice, becoming more aggressive. Your words are coming faster and faster, louder and louder, because you're determined to break through this time to get a different result from him or her to really hear you and understand. You know, it seems so logical to you, simple, right? You can't understand why they don't or won't get it. Maybe you think you know what you're going to say next or what they're going to say. And it only gets worse and it continues to escalate. It may be that husband cannot get the wife to just shut up. She keeps going on, and he cannot stand what he's hearing as he takes it as constant nagging over and over again, and the same old story. He's feeling totally disrespected and wants to just ignore the whole conversation and begins to clam up.
But how about her? She may be feeling more and more disconnected, insignificant, hurt, feeling unloved for who she is, and of course being attacked. And now it's become a vicious cycle. So it's inside her being. Have you ever had a version of this situation or something like it? If not, do you have your own version? I want you to feel that and get into that moment now. What have you done in the past to correct it? What would you do differently? Now that you have some time to think about it, take a piece of paper and write down your answers. If you like, you can put them in the Q&A by clicking on the Q&A button and typing your answers, and the only people who will see it is us. So what would your answer to these questions be? Or What would your solution to this situation be like in your marriage if this came up? How would you feel? How would you react? And then suppose you thought about it for a few days because it was bugging you in your marriage, bugging you in your spirit. What would you come up with after a few days? Would you have different answers?
So we now want to role play a typical issue that many couples have. And we want you to see what this situation would be like because you may have your own situation that comes up in your own particular relationship. So let's give them an example.
Okay. Honey, I am so angry. I am just so angry. I hardly know what to do because I went down and I found this document. And on the document, it is the exact opposite of what we made an agreement to.
What are you talking about?
Oh, wait.
Hey,
I don't want to.
I've heard enough.
No. I see that you went to a million other places and got all kinds of information. You didn't even tell me you were going to do it. You didn't even tell me that you had new information.
Well, you know, you're always doing the same thing again and again yourself.
I can't handle this any longer.
I'm tired of it too. You're so frustrating to deal with. All right, now you got that situation. I don't know. Have you ever had a situation like that where you think she's right, she thinks you're wrong? So, what did you notice about that situation? Well, first of all, she was on an attack mode, right? And so instantly I'm already feeling attacked. And what did you notice I did? Well, I just attacked back. You know, the tit for tat, trying to get back at each other because you just don't feel like you're being understood.
And I was judging him because I had in my own had concepts that I thought without having any information, I just jumped to because of perhaps maybe prior things that had happened, maybe in my own life that had nothing to do with him, but maybe some of these same kinds of things had happened before. And so I just took all of that and had it all in my mind, got me to a position where I just wanted to fight. I just wanted to get back at him. I just wanted blood. And so now I'm just after him and it's revving in my whole body, making me spiral down and not able to really think or be able to go to a position of any resolution because my mind is racing in a negative place or a negative manner.
And I was doing the same thing. So there's an example of what doesn't work. So now let's give you an example of what does work. So let's take another scenario.
Okay, honey, I'm so angry. I just came back. I saw all of this stuff and I just am so upset because we made an agreement and over again, you keep breaking these agreements.
What did I do that didn't work for you?
Well, when I read these documents, I see that it isn't what we had agreed to.
So you didn't feel I honored a commitment that I made to you in the past?
Yes, I don't feel like you did. I see it right here.
Yeah, darling, I apologize for that because you're right. I was just trying to go quickly. You know how I do that sometimes. And I apologize for that. What can we do differently to make it better?
Well, what I'd like to do is if you get new information, which it looks like you had new information, and so then you went ahead and took that new information and made and changed the agreement we had to do a new thing without my knowing it. Number one, I would like to know it. The first part would be for you to come tell me, and then I can at least know what's going on. I need to have an awareness of what's happening. Otherwise, I feel like you're running off without me and then I'm disconnected from you and that gets me into fear.
And that's the last thing I really want to have happen.
Yes.
You know, the truth is I want to be connected to you and I want to give you the information, but you know, sometimes things happen fast. So here's what I can do. I will commit to doing the best that I can to change that. And if it isn't working, would you let me know?
Yes, and what is it that you're going to do the best you can to change that?
Well, so you want specifics.
Mhm.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to what you're telling me that you want me to see. I'm going to update you if there's new information and let you know, hey, honey, I got some new information here that I didn't have before. And then I'm going to share that information with you so that you're up to date.
Okay.
Will that work for you?
It will. How will I know? How are you going to share this? Are we going to have a conversation? Are you?
Yeah, to be a dialogue back and forth, or if it's not working, just let me know.
Well, sometimes you said things happen quickly. So how am I going to be updated if things are happening quickly for you?
I'll do the best that I can. That's all I can promise you. I think that once I realize that I didn't give you all the information you need, I will work on giving that to you.
That will work for me.
Awesome.
We'll try it. How about if we try it and see how it works? And if it doesn't work, then we can tweak it so that it does work.
Sounds great. Because really, that's really what I want to do is I want to have connection.
Me too. Me
All
too.
right. So you now see that situation. So what's the difference in that situation versus the second situation? Well, first of all, I believe what I did when she was upset was I listened to her and I didn't immediately jump in and attack her back. The other thing that I did, if you'll notice, is I asked her some questions because they were neutral questions. They were questions to create connection because sometimes you can ask questions that create disconnection or even make it escalate to a whole nother level. And then the other thing is I apologized and I took responsibility for my behavior and what I did or didn't do so that she knew exactly where I was coming from. What else did you notice?
Well, what I did is that I stopped judging you. And when you asked me questions and apologized, it gave me the space to really think about what it was that I was feeling. And what I was really reacting to more than a changed document, because when I had time to think about what you actually changed, it was for the better. But I didn't see that right away because fear instantly came up, thinking that you were running off and doing something without me knowing what it was that you were doing. So it connected to distrust for me and fear. And so when I can disconnect from that, when you ask questions, it helps me get clear so that I understand where my feelings are really coming from. So instead of trying to be vindictive, I can take responsibility for my own feelings and realize what was going on. And that way, then I have the space in the room to be able to come to a conclusion that really will work for both of us. And what we have definitely noticed in our marriage is that without a doubt, 100% of the time, even if it looks like we're at 180-degree ends, by talking it out and coming to a conclusion that both of us can agree on, it always, always, always is a better solution. It always, always, always is better for the other people. It's always better for ourselves. It's better for our marriage. And when people ask questions, then it begins to heal some of those things that I was feeling, distrust, fear that he had run off and doing something else that I didn't know about. So it keeps me, I have resolution. I know where he is, so that I don't have fear. And I'm not trying to stop something bad from happening, which then keeps me spiraling down when I do that, because then my thoughts go off into a million directions, which do nothing but create an open door for the enemy. So we want to close all of those doors.
So what we want to do now is to give you some tools that you can practically use to create more of the loving relationships that you want. And here's a phrase, you may want to write this down if you're taking notes, and that is this: make the relationship more important than the task or issue. So often we get stuck in that issue or the topic we're discussing. We're holding on to our position that we really don't bring love back to the present place that allows that connection to happen. Everybody's after love. Everybody's after connection. And so we want to give you more tools to do that. So we've created a PowerPoint that we want to share here with you. All right. So we want to share with you the core of our message tonight, there are three keys we're sharing. Key number one is, are you communicating in a way that creates love and connection?
Number one, there are 4 steps towards the objective of all communication being total, unconditional love. That's the objective, is always staying in love. When we're not in love, we're way off. And then we have a possibility of hurting each other and making very unwise decisions.
And you know, it really is this simple. You're either coming from love or fear. And if you're coming from fear, that's where you want to apply the tools that we're giving you here. So A is you want to see the problem from the other person's point of view. You know, so often we're focused on our agenda instead of understanding the agenda of someone else.
So you want to seek first to understand. So my agenda would have been to seek first. I needed to ask Bill a question. Hey, look, this is what I found. Tell me more about this. Seek his understanding first, his point of view, and then give him my own. And that would have kept us out of an argument, out of spiraling down.
Next is when someone is deeply understood, it validates who they are. They feel heard and it heals a piece of them.
Number B, so identify the key issues and the concerns, not the positions involved. My position was attack. Stay out of the positions that you're involved in and just go to the key issue. What am I trying to tell him? What is he trying to tell me? What is his key concern?
And you want to ask questions because it gives you information and it also shows that you really care.
Because statements will kill communication. And that's what we were doing. And there were no questions. We were just giving statements back and forth to one another. That does nothing but kill the communication. But if you have questions, it stops it and opens up, and it unlocks the communications.
So an example of this are some stems that you can use. And the first stem is, what do you need and how can I help?
Another idea is, what else do you want me to know?
And what would allow us to move forward? Notice how those questions are designed in a way that they create relationship instead of disconnection.
The power of asking questions gets the person to empty themselves and gets clear on their own feelings.
And C, it determines what results would be full. You want to determine what results would be fully acceptable solution to both of you, not just you, but really to both of you.
And D, you want to identify new possible options to achieve those results. So when Bill was trying to resolve it with me, that's what he was doing, is giving me options to achieve those results.
So key number 2 is, how is being judgmental killing you and your relationships?
Number 1, the process of the mind comparing something to see if there's agreement with what you hold as true. So it's looking at something and saying, is that how I believe? And if not, then we judge it.
Number 2 is 95% of value judging is done on an unconscious basis. You don't even know you're doing it. And for most people, they're not even aware that really the killer of love and what creates fear is value judging. When you have a belief system that you believe is right, wrong, the gospel according to you, and when you get into value judging, your mind is shut off. It's not open to hearing new ideas.
So number 3, what are the ways that you judge? Well, one way you can tell is you feel heavy. You don't feel good about it. You're not light. You're not yourself. You're impatient, really, really impatient. And maybe you label yourself or others, like you say, am I bad? Or that was a really stupid thing. What made me do that? Watch the language, and whatever language you use, it will give you a clue as to if you're value judging. And then, as Bill has already said, fear then is more present than love. If you're in fear, you're value judging something. It's taking you off course. It's a lie.
So number 4 is, when we criticize or judge, we now condemn ourselves to the same thing we just judge that other person for. Doesn't that often happen, where you think you're right and then you find out that you're being so judgmental in what you're doing?
So an example of that is when I was just the things that I was accusing Bill of later on, then I would find myself doing the same thing, having an opportunity to move forward without checking with him. Only it might be in a bigger way or a different way, but it was basically the same thing. I remember one time when we were listening to a podcast, and the information was great information, but the person was using or what was he using? He was using
I statements.
he was using, oh, it was okay. He was using okay. At the end of almost every word, he would say, okay, okay. Well, throughout the throughout the talk, we began to then to each other say, okay, okay. And we were doing it totally unconsciously. Well, I went down then later in the week to write a document. And when I reread it, I was transcribing it. And when I reread it, at the end of it, it all said, okay, okay, okay. I didn't even know that I had completely, because I had judged him, I had now changed my own behavior to him, and it was coming out of my own mouth. So these are things that are very insidious, but it absolutely kills love in any relationship.
So number 6 is we will hear what others say as being critical of us. And so often we are looking to be criticized, or we don't want to be criticized, but we continue to attack, and criticism definitely does not work.
So what do we do instead? Well, we want to notice, and make observations, and we would definitely have preferences. Like in my situation, I noticed that this person was using okay, but I can have a preference of not doing that, but I don't judge him. I just evaluate it. The best way is to affirm. Look at what they are doing that's correct. Come and give an affirmation to somebody when they're thinking that you're going to come and be criticizing them. Look at what's the best in them. Look at how Christ sees them and give an affirmation to them. And that will definitely, that stops the value judging, but it also then turns it from a negative to a positive.
So key number 3 is, what are your false beliefs? Number 1 is false belief systems are created unconsciously through events and traumas we experience by decisions we make at the time of the event. And usually they're like instantaneous. And then now we're so sensitized to this that we don't really realize what we're doing.
So number 2, belief systems helped us to survive at the moment. We needed them to come through the situation. But now we're using that same pattern and it keeps us stuck in the very things that we're desperately trying to avoid. And no matter what the cost of the relationship, we can't get out of it.
So number 3 is we cannot go against the false belief system that we've had. Our brain will not allow it, even if it doesn't make sense. The belief system creates the same behavior repeatedly. And so this really frustrates people because you or your spouse or a loved one, you constantly are redoing and rehashing the same things. Unless you get new skills and new ways of operating, you're going to keep repeating the same things that don't work. Number 4.
Number 4, belief systems are created on an unconscious level from the womb until death. And that's how come they're really ingrained. And so this is one of the things that we do in our program. It really takes help from another outside source, an individual that is skilled to see this, to help you get out of what your false beliefs are. Because they are so stuck, because it's kind of like breathing. You don't know because that's all you've experienced.
So number 5 is, that's why it's not your fault. However, it's your opportunity. You see, blaming people doesn't work. And if people knew how to do better, wouldn't they do better? If you knew how to do better, wouldn't you do better? The problem is we can only make choices up to the level of awareness that we have.
So number 6, in a marriage, the wounds of each person tend to be perfectly matched to trigger each other. And that, I think, is why God put us together, is because then we can heal one another. But truly, Bill's triggers trigger me, my triggers trigger him. And this is what happens in a marriage invariably. And this is one of the key things to be able to unlock and uncover so that you know how to get out of this pattern.
So thank everybody for being a part of this live event. We look forward to hearing from you. And more importantly, we look forward to having you be a part of our next program starting next